G'day, ZiggyD here. It's Monday the 5th of November and welcome to a new show I'm starting called Monday Musings, which I've started in a bid to get more of my personality into my channel and to hopefully connect with you guys a bit more. So in this series I'm just going to be talking about pretty random topics about whatever interests me, and I'll be having some gaming footage in the background, probably Diablo 3 or any other games that I'm playing at the time. The topics I'll talk about won't necessarily be gaming related, but considering gaming is a huge part of my life, they're more than likely going to have some sort of gaming relation to them. So hopefully, if you're a gamer and have anything in common with me, then maybe these topics will interest you. So, the topic I'm going to be musing about for this Monday is the idea of living cheaply so that you can play more games. At least that's what I'll title it, but I think it's actually going to be more something like the idea of being frugal and saving money, and so that you don't have to work as much, so that you can do more of what you enjoy. Now, I think a bit of backstory is probably relevant for this. I'm 23 years old, I live in a rented home with my girlfriend and my dog. As I was growing up, I pretty much always wanted to be a high-level corporate person. Hey, it's like maybe like a retail manager, probably in retail, something like that. And it's pretty obvious, but I got this from my dad. Up until a couple of years ago, he was that high-level manager at a retail chain, and he was living the make a lot of money, support an expensive-ish sort of lifestyle, and not have as much time to do the things you enjoy because you are working a lot. And especially in retail, you spend a lot of time working extra time for not any more pay because of that obligation, and it's a big struggle to get higher in the career path in the retail sort of field. So I was doing that as well up until the end of last year. I was working in retail. I'd been working in retail for 5 years, and I sort of seeing my dad decide that that's not the way he wanted his life to be and leave that, and he's now studying psychology and doing a bunch of other really cool stuff, spending more time with my other siblings and stuff like that. Seeing that happen, and also myself, and realizing the way that retail works and the way that a typical career path works, I decided that maybe it can work the other way, where instead of working a lot, earning a lot of money and supporting a more expensive lifestyle, I could probably find ways to cut costs and enjoy my life a lot more while working a lot less. And now I'm actually not working in a traditional style job at all. I'm actually self-employed. I make YouTube videos, I write, and I do some other online stuff, freelance writing, stuff like that, just to pay the bills and sort of building up a business doing what I enjoy. And obviously playing a lot of video games, because that's one thing I really love doing, and if I can have a lifestyle that supports that in a healthy, balanced sort of way. And the way that I consider balance, what I actually consider balance to be, is finding your own balance of how can you do the things you don't enjoy as much in a way that lets you do the things you do enjoy. So let's talk a bit about how I actually am able to do that sort of lifestyle. Well, we rent a pretty cheap house as far as Australia goes. $265 a week in Australia isn't too bad. We can probably get it a bit cheaper, and we're pretty happy. We've decided we're pretty happy. This is my girlfriend and I, in living in a smaller house if it's nice enough and has a good yard for our dog Tychus. We're happy with that, and we're happy to pay less rent to do that, because paying less rent and not having this huge house means that we have more leeway to do the things we want, and in which case means I don't have to work a job I don't want to work just to pay for things. So also we try to eat as cheaply as possible as well. Good food, I'm still sort of trying to figure out my diet, and I might cover this in a future Monday musing, but trying to figure out a healthy way to eat that we enjoy that is really cheap. And we're sort of, I don't know, somewhere fluctuating between the $50 a week mark and something like that, a bit higher. Sometimes we're a bit over. Still, it's really hard to train yourself to not spend too much on food, but we both cook, and I'm a pretty decent cook, so I'm able to make really cheap foods with basic ingredients like just fruits and veggies and cheap meat and rice and beans and pasta and all that stuff and all that good stuff, and sort of put it together and come up with good taste and stuff. Like I've been having nachos the past couple of weeks and just like meats and veggies and stuff mixed together with my self-made taco seasoning and chips and stuff. Oh man, I'm hungry now. It's like 5 p.m. I'm gonna make a shepherd's pie after this, but so like trying to like keep those food costs down as well. So we eat out maybe once a week when we're like don't have too many bills to pay and stuff like that. We go out to a pub, get a good meal, so that sort of thing. Do that occasionally because you have to keep yourself sane and entertain us in a way like that. But most of the time we make our own food and it ends up being pretty cheap and delicious, like better than any takeaway we'll get, that's for sure. So where else do I cut costs? Well, in exercise, the only thing we're doing at the moment in terms of exercise is we take Tychus for walks, we go for our walks ourselves, and we cycle, which despite having their own initial costs, like if you don't already own a bike, those sorts of exercises are really, really cheap and pretty decent. When we are like not trying to save money as hardcore, we'll play some team sports and stuff. Hockey, which isn't exactly the cheap field hockey in Australia. It's not exactly the cheapest, but it's good to get out and do that sort of things. And something I'd like to get back into was martial arts, which I used to do Aikido in the past. I'd like to get back into that. But at the moment, I feel cutting those costs and not paying for those things in order to like build up my own business and things like that, to have that extra time. Because that's the really topic that I'm talking about here is like where you can cut costs that don't like hugely negatively impact your life so that you can buy yourself time, because you're really trading your money for time a lot of the time with a job, and I'd much rather have that time than that money. So that's kind of what this whole thing's about, but I'll continue anyway. So what else? I don't really drink too much anymore. I'm Aussie and I love a beer and I love wine, but I don't feel the need to drink that more than very occasionally. So and when you're like playing games on a Friday night anyway, which I love to do, that's just the way I am. I don't really feel the need to go spend hundreds of dollars on alcohol. Like, man, like, oh, the amount of money people spend when they go out to like drink on the weekend or something like that at a pub or something, spending a couple $100s on the weekend. I'm like, man, I could like work 3 days less, not drink on a Friday night, and I don't have to work 3 days. It's like they're working so much to just pay for one, you know. And often like that sort of drinking is usually, you know, man, I've had a tough week of work. I'm gonna go out and, you know, drink heaps tonight to relax for the weekend. And that's fine if you really enjoy doing that, but for me, that was like, what the hell is the point of that? Why would I work so hard so that I can drink to relax from working so hard? It doesn't make any sense to me. Anyway, so I don't drink too much. I don't smoke. In terms of entertainment, like as I said, we go out every now and then. I really enjoy going out and watching a movie every now and then. And other movies we just watch online. We watch tons of online stuff, so it's pretty good. Man, the internet's cheap, and gaming itself is just a cheap hobby. If you find a few games you really like, then gaming can be a really cheap hobby. I know it seems expensive, especially if you play a lot of console games, but ever since I've moved into PC games, I've bought like StarCraft, Diablo 3, Guild Wars, and a couple of Steam games, and I'm playing those so much, and that is like the cheapest hobby I've ever had, man. Especially like StarCraft, I made more money playing StarCraft than I spent buying it. Like, a couple months after buying StarCraft and getting really into it, I went to a local LAN and won $60 from like playing like a bronze to platinum sort of tournament there. So that's just like a funny example, but yeah, gaming can be a really cheap hobby. So let me try and like bring this all back into some central point, because I'm getting towards the 10-minute mark. I don't really want to go too far over that. Think about the way that you like actually like consciously think about the way that you do your life, because this is sort of what I try to do a lot. The way that you organize your life, like maybe you're in school, and I'm not gonna lie, you have tons of time to do what you want when you're in school, but when you start getting these obligations, financial obligations and things like that, take a second to think, you know, whether you're working more than you really need to be, and then doing things because of that that cost money, that just feed into this whole cycle. It's kind of like, to me, having a job feels a bit like human domestication, because it's like keeping you in that same cycle over and over, just repeating that same sort of thing. But just like consciously think about your life, and if you can work out ways to cut $100 out of your weekly budget, and then you just go to your boss and say, look, I can't really work Fridays, I have family obligations every Friday, and my priority is that I need to do that. And you know, not every employee is going to be okay with that, but you kind of have to stand your ground on those sorts of things. At least I feel that you have to. So if you can cut $100 out and cut one day out of work a week, and then on that one day worth work that you've cut out just by saving a bit of money, doing some excesses by not doing some excesses, then you have an extra day to play with, and you could start a business, or you could play video games, or start another hobby, or go out and see sights. There's so much you can do with an extra day a week. So just think about ways that you can trade your working time and money for actual time to do the things you really want to do. And and that's what I do, and I'm pretty happy with the way things are going at the moment. Living a bit more cheaply to buy myself time. I think it feels really awesome. So hopefully that musing was interesting. Bit of a rambling, but I don't know, maybe you guys get something out of it and find it enjoyable. Of course, let me know in the comments whether you think it's interesting, or your views on this topic, or maybe other things you'd like me to talk about in these sorts of ramblings. I'm probably going to be doing it every Monday, recording it on Monday, and then my Monday in Australia, and uploading it overnight. So most in the US and stuff, you'll probably get this on Monday. If you're in Australia or something, you might get it on Tuesday. But yeah, that's it for today. I'm ZiggyD, and thanks for watching.